Okay, here it comes.
Hey, man. Welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast, dude.
Hey, Kid Rock, it's Joe Biden. Don't be such a ba-wada-ba da bang da dang diggy diggy whiny little bitch ass and just drink your fucking beer.
Welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast here at the new renovated Big Bad Broadcast Studios.
Looks
Love
great.
it. Yes.
Nice. Did you paint?
I even got my own cell.
And we are live from Florida, LA, and other parts of California up in the desert.
And the high desert.
The high desert.
Makes
The
it
high
easy. There's a
desert.
lot of places to hide bodies up here.
The high desert.
There's a reason they
Right.
call it the high desert, and it's not
That
because
where
of the
the-
elevation.
Is that
This
where
is-
the horse with no
That's
name is
as
from?
far as the eye can see.
Let's put it this way: if you ever saw Breaking Bad, and that was supposed to be whatever, it could have been filmed up here, and it probably was.
And,
'cause
and
any-
was
if
it
you're-
this color?
If you're ever driving up here and you look out in the distance and you'll see like a mobile home out in the middle of nothing, you know it's a meth lab. You know.
Well, I found this picture of my dad, and he rented that same Winnebago,
Yeah.
like to go to Florida years ago, like when that was like the new model, I guess. And I posted it on Facebook, and I wrote, "Here's an early picture of my dad in his first meth lab."
Nice. Have you seen? I have a friend. His name is Jerry. He sells RVs. Have
Oh.
you seen these friggin' RVs? They're like, it's like it's 3 times bigger than my apartment. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do these things drive?
And they
And
cost
they-
like $1 million. Well, it's like
I
a bus.
know.
It's like a bus. Jimmy has one. Labriola has
It's
one.
like we have marble countertops. What? I got plywood in my fucking kitchen. What the hell are you guys
and
doing?
you're seeing when you got to see it, they got slide outs that make them
Yeah,
even bigger.
I
and
know.
awnings, and I mean they're huge.
King size beds.
My friend
Yeah.
had a slide out. His has a fireplace in it,
Yeah,
not a real fireplace.
What?
But it's got a fireplace in it.
yeah. The big ones can go over $1 million for. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's like I don't know. Actually, I'm thinking about buying not one like that, but I'm gonna buy an RV, a smaller one, just for trips and stuff. To go to Grand Canyon and go different places. Because my part of the desert up here is getting kind of full, so I need some more places to. Anyway,
Don't you live near Joshua Tree? Don't they have RV parks there?
I don't know. No, that's the low desert. I'm in the
Oh, okay.
high desert, man.
I
I like to be close to my purveyors of meth and meth related products.
purveyors.
Purveyors, yes. It's like no, it's it's like
SAT
you
word
gotta
from
you
Mike.
gotta have fresh meth. It's like those guys that go around in the restaurant with salt and pepper shaker. Up here, it's like it's like fresh meth. Fresh meth. Would you like some fresh? Oh yes, no, I gotta have it fresh.
You guys are such liars.
That's true.
You guys are so straight; it's ridiculous.
I've been sober
and
for
proud
years.
and proud of you.
Straight and proud. Well,
Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, no, I quit drinking. Not like how about this whole thing? This whole I love the video in the beginning, man. This whole kid schmuck, kid putz, kid moron,
Rock.
kid rock. Yeah.
I
I
used
had
to like his music too.
I had
guess
one
still
I had
do.
one hit that I stole the lyrics from somebody else, and now I'm trying to be real. He doesn't believe a word he says. It's all trying to become get his popularity that he never had back.
But it's also like 10 to 15 years past him having any relevance at all.
Yeah.
I know.
Seriously.
Let's
Well,
get back to Kid Rock in a little bit because
Yeah.
there's
Kid
other
fucking
stuff.
Rock.
Oh, we don't want to waste any time with him, but we will get back to him, I'm sure.
I mean, he does have the president's attention, so we'll get back to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't
there's, so there's a justice system.
So does the
Yeah.
He starts his rape trial next week.
Yeah.
In New York.
Oh, Trumpy?
Trump.
You don't mean Kid Rock, you mean Trump,
No,
right?
Trump. Yeah.
Oh, wait, Trump raped Kid Rock?
Well, that would explain it.
That's how he hits the high notes, Mike.
I have to tell you something, Kid Rock. You are my wait, no, I can't do. How do you do? I can't do a Trump.
I can't do him either. But John does a good
Many people telling you are my illegitimate. I can't do Trump. You're my illegitimate.
John
kid.
can do one. John, you're doing Trump, don't you?
I don't. Yeah, not on the spot. I can't.
I screwed a talentless Buffalo many years ago, and you're my illegitimate son.
Don't call Ivanka that. Or Ivana, sorry. She's not buried on a golf course. Have some respect.
So, well, how about this whole? Are we
so our homework this week
yes.
was to find some obscure news stories.
Oh yeah. Now I really feel stupid because we were talking about drugs, and I found this story about a woman who ground up a black widow spider, put it in a syringe, and shot it up to get high. How desperate do you have to be? What the fuck would make you think to grind up a spider to get a venomous spider?
Well, it's so crazy because when you get bit by a black widow spider, you die when it goes into your bloodstream. So why would you get hot?
You get really sick.
You get sick.
Why would you think that would be fun?
Well, see there. That's a drug addict thinking. Like, why the fuck would you want to get off on something? It's like what's going on today. What about all this? I mean, it's sad. It's crazy. This fentanyl stuff. If you were a kid today and you were experimenting, would you go near this shit? I mean, would you?
But I think the problem with fentanyl is that they cut it into everything, so that a lot of people don't know they're taking fentanyl.
It's correct.
I mean, the stuff's so powerful. It's killed cops that have touched it. While they were frisking somebody and they touched it.
When I had to go get my colonoscopy, I said to the guy, "Will I be asleep?" And he goes, "We give you some fentanyl." And I go, "Fentanyl?" He goes, "Yeah, the same drug that killed Michael Jackson."
No, the stuff that killed Michael Jackson was propofol.
Oh yeah. He goes, "We'll give you." I go, "Oh, I'm sorry," but that was what he said to me. I go, "What do they give you?" He goes, "We give you propofol. Nothing to worry about. The medicine that killed Michael Jackson."
We used to bang Michael Jackson in the ass. You never woke up. You don't have to worry, John.
I know exactly.
He used to call it milk. Give me my milk.
I'm sorry. So you're talking colonoscopies. That's something I never had. Like I said, I want to be in the movies, but I don't want the movies in me.
Nice.
I'm not letting somebody shove a Nikon camera up my ass.
It's very poetic.
Believe me, where I come from, that's nothing.
That's nothing. John,
nothing.
Craig's had like what are those fucking? Remember the ones that used to pop out a picture and you'd shake it like Polaroid?
Polaroid.
Yeah, Craig's had Polaroids up his ass. What is he?
I had an SX70 up my ass.
Yeah,
so let me ask you a question. Let's get off the up the ass.
Yeah.
So what happened to the woman?
She got really sick and she almost died, but she survived. But I think she has special powers now. I think
she's a superhero now.
Yeah,
I often think, because I worked in an emergency room and we had to do some intake. Like, how do you go to emergency room? They go, "What's the matter?" And you go, "I crushed up a black widow spider and I injected it."
I know, really.
And then the guy at the check goes, "Hey, Charlie, what do you need this one?"
Yeah. Hold on. I think they make those people wait too. They're like, they don't treat them right away. They're like,
and you know what? People at emergency rooms, they have attitude. Back in 1992, I got pissed off at my ex, and I punched a wall at my house, and I didn't realize there was a beam there, and I broke this bone in my hand. I go to the emergency room. They go, "What happened?" I go, "I think I broke my hand." They go, "What'd you do?" I go, "I punched a wall," and I was 32 at the time. She goes, "Yeah, we have that people come in that, but they're much younger than you." I'm like, "Fuck you! Just put a cast on it, will you? Come on."
Yeah,
I saw a video yesterday on TikTok of this kid. I guess he was about 13 or 14. He was in a baseball uniform, and they had just set his arm. He must have broke his arm during the game,
right?
And he's in the recovery room, and he's coming out of anesthesia, and he's going, "Woohoo! I am high as shit! I am high." And his father's going, he goes, and then he's going like this. He goes, I feel great. I feel really great.
How old was the kid?
Like 13 or 14. Yeah. He goes,
so that's
maybe 15. He goes, "I can't even feel my toes." He goes, "I haven't been as high since I smoked that Blue Crush."
God damn, I've been chasing that feeling for 50 years.
His father goes, "What?
Are you sure you weren't watching the beginning of the reboot of Rookie of the Year? You know, when the kid breaks his arm.
It was so funny.
His father was jealous. His father wanted to be that high.
His father's going, "I don't want to hear anymore about the Blue Crush." Woo!
I did some weird shit to get high.
"This is fucking crazy." And all
I
of a sudden,
didn't-
there's comes over and goes, "Could you
What's-
please stop the cussing?" He goes, "Who cussed?"
Oh man,
Yeah,
we've I
that
don't know.
makes me
our
wanna go out
generation-
and break an arm.
Craig, what's the weirdest shit you ever got high on, Craig?
Well, okay, yeah, I just for context, I am a recovering alcoholic and addict, but I was driving, and this is like in the mid '90s. I was driving to Hartford, Connecticut, and I had the urge to get high. And yeah, I used to drink and drive back then. Not knock on wood, I never hurt anybody. And I reached into my bag and I took out one of these industrial sized bottles of Listerine, which is about 10% alcohol, I guess, something like that. I don't know. And I drank the whole bottle of Listerine, and I got buzzed, and I got sick.
I just posted that on Facebook the other day. I said I usually use Scope, but I ran out of Scope, so I took some Listerine, and it took me like 4 cigarettes to get that taste out of my mouth.
Did you really do that too?
No, yeah. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. That's
No,
what
no,
we
I mean-
that's what we like to call humor here at the Big
Oh,
Bad.
I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Which
That
also
eluded me. I was in a
Just-
serious mode. I forget.
Well, don't alcoholics? Not that I've ever been one, but don't they also drink like cologne and stuff, right?
I've heard the weirdest shit. I knew a
Yeah,
guy that actually
cologne.
got drunk on witch hazel, which is like I don't know,
No,
it's
come
like-
on.
Yeah. He just when you
But
know
his
when you're-
but his hemorrhoids were wonderful.
they were wonderful. They smelled great.
When I went to Weight Watchers, people with addictions are really weird. I went to Weight Watchers years ago, and they were saying, you could eat hot dogs, and the woman raised her hand and said, "After I boil the hot dogs, can I drink the water?"
Hot dog tea.
Loaded with fat.
God.
It's loaded
Hot-
with fat. No.
Hot
you
dog
really should-
tea. Can I drink the water? Jesus. John, I
I
gotta
got-
hear, what's the weirdest thing you ever got high on?
I
John's
never really
generation,
did-
they just drank. They didn't do any
No,
kind
I
of
never
illicit
really
drugs.
did anything, like I'm not saying I
Right.
never got high, but I'm saying it's like it was always like normal stuff, like
What
pot.
about your Woodstock story? Your Woodstock
Yeah,
story.
well,
Well, that's
yeah.
all pot and stuff. Nobody
that
ever
was
slipped you.
that was probably acid or something. I don't know.
Well, here's a question for from your generation, and maybe you'd know, because I'd never fucking seen it. Does Acapulco Gold and all these other
Oh yeah,
Panama Red, is that real shit? Is it real? Does it exist?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
So-
'Cause
So back then in the Wild West, when you
Wow.
when
Wow,
pot was
wow, wow.
when pot was 2 ounces for $25,
I know.
and only jazz musicians smoked it.
Jazz
Um,
musicians.
Yeah, it was like, there was Acapulco Gold, which was like, it had a like more of a blondie color to it.
Right.
But it was, filled with stems and seeds, and, it was, by the time you cleaned it, there wasn't a lot left. And then there was, regular like pot, but hash was the thing that everyone was,
Well, shit, Panama Red had
Yeah.
its own song. Panama Red.
but they had
Panama
like
Red.
hash was like the big thing. Like everyone was like hash connoisseurs,
What's the difference between hash and pot?
Hash is like they take all the THC from the pot and they melt it into a brick.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So you would get these 2-ounce pieces of hash in a burlap bag with
In a
opium
burlap
on
bag.
with opium on it with a brand in it.
But John doesn't know anything about this.
No,
personally.
no,
These
no.
are rumors of things
He's
he's
got
heard.
he's got 12 of them in his
There was
garage.
black hash, which was very hard, and blonde hash.
Mm.
The black hash was it was like the thing about hash is you could take like 3 little pieces the size of a match head and smoke that, and it'd be like smoking like 2
Wow.
joints.
See, because we got crap. I mean, like I said, I grew up in the projects in New York, and you'd get what they call commercial merch. We call it merch, whatever the frick.
Right.
You'd get 10 joints out of a nickel bag because we rolled them like a toothpick. But
Right.
but it was just nothing. Like, have you smelled the pot that they sell today? Like
It
that's
is
legal.
so strong. That's why I can't. I would never even.
Oh my god, I'd be terrified of that shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It's funny.
I keep on thinking about different things you do. The first time I smoked pot, I didn't know what I had. I bought it from somebody, and I was in my woods. There was woods in back of my house, and I got so friggin' paranoid. I remember my parents went out. That's when I decided to smoke it. And then I walked back to my house, and a neighbor came up to me, and she's talking to me, and I'm looking at her mouth, and I'm looking at the strings of saliva through her teeth, and I'm like, ah, it totally wigged me out. I can't handle
I
it.
just remember being so high one night coming home, living at my parents' house. So I had to go down to this girl I used to be friends with down the block. And I was sitting in her basement. Her dog walked in with a space outfit on.
Oh my God.
She had a clear helmet on her head. But my friend, my oldest friend in the world that I grew up with, that we've been friends since we were like 10, I think.
No,
And
back
he
in
was
the 20s.
he was in he was in Florida and ran into some people and smoked some of this new crazy weed that you're talking about. And
Crazy weed.
And he's like, that's it. I can never smoke again in my life. That's it. No, that's it.
Yeah.
So then he went to Colorado where he lives, and they opened up a pot store right near his house. So he went in out of curiosity, and the guy goes, smoke pot? And he goes, not anymore. And the guy goes, why not? And he goes, oh, it's too strong. And the guy goes, how old are you? And he goes, like 72. And he goes, oh, well, come here. You need old school pot.
You need old school weed.
Old school weed.
He brought him over, and he said that, he goes, and today is Wednesday. It's BOGO day. Buy one joint, get one free.
Wow. And
And
the
he said
address
it
for that
came in a
place?
test tube. He said it came in a test tube, and it was like a perfectly rolled joint, but like the size of the thickness of like a cigarillo,
Right.
Mhm.
you know. And he had his
It's
choice
cigarillo.
of Acapulco Gold, different stuff, and he said it was
Damn.
exactly like the pot we used to smoke.
Wow.
You
See,
know,
the
this
weirdest.
reminds me-
I
You
was
ever
going
seen
to
the
say,
episode of Barney Miller where they eat the hash brownies?
yeah, they all get high and whatever. Yeah.
That's when you think when you mention hash or even doing pot, I always think of that because I that's how I get.
We
I'm
can't
I'll be
assume our
looking-
audience is that old that they remember
Oh, yeah,
Barney
sure.
Miller.
Barney Miller's an old TV series. They work in the precinct, and somebody brings brownies in for them, and they eat it, and it's laced with hash, and the whole precinct gets high. It's
So you
hilarious.
guys have never gone into the mist, into the the harshest stuff. I freaking smoked angel dust. And
oh jeez.
let me tell you something, man. I fought the devil. I visited Christ. I mean, I swear to God, I was out, I guess unconscious for tripping for like a day and a half. I woke up in a park without my shoes and just freaking, and it all started. Remember, it was in the back seat of this chick's car. We were smoking, and you remember the old cars, and the seats would have like sewing in them, stitches in the sewing, and
Yeah.
the trip started with me smoking, and then I was shrunk, and I fell into the stitching of the seat. I was falling in, and I went to
Yikes.
hell, and I got I
Wow.
fought the devil.
Well,
and-
isn't angel dust acid? Is it like acid?
I don't you know
No,
what, it's
I
like
think it's
horse
like-
tranquilizer. It's like,
Yeah, they treat it with like formaldehyde, like all
and I had a
different
high
stuff.
tolerance for everything. I mean, he used to carry Quaaludes around and wrapped in tinfoil, looked like a pack of certs. you
I
know?
wish I tried Quaaludes. I never tried them, but after I
Oh.
saw the Wolf of Wall Street, I definitely wanted to.
It's like being wasted drunk without the dizziness and all that. It's
Yeah.
just being
I
dopey.
hit-
want
it's
that.
a-
I would have loved that.
It's a hypnotic. is
Here
what
at the
it
Big
is.
Bad Broadcast, we in no way promoting the use of drugs or alcohol.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I'm in recovery, and I'm doing really well. But even 9, 10, 12 years out, I still crave it, and that's why being an addict is so tough, man. You still crave the effect, even though it led you down a path to where you're going to ruin your friggin' life.
Well, that's the insanity of addiction.
Well,
that,
This is kind of a funny story. My dad
Speaking of
just got
insanity,
my dad just got a brand new Pontiac. It was like a Pontiac Le Mans Super Sport or something.
nice.
It was cool. It looked like a GTO.
Wow.
And this is like in the 70s. So I pick up my friend, and I'm just taking out for a test ride. My friend gets in the car and goes, "Bitchin' car, man. Can I smoke a joint?" I go, "Not in my dad's brand new car." And he's like, he goes, "Come on, we'll roll down the windows. He'll never know." And I'm like, "No, man, please." And he's like, so he pops in the lighter. Remember
He
when
couldn't
cars
stop
had
the car and get out and smoke the
Remember-
joint. He had to
remember-
smoke it in the car.
Right. Remember when cars had lighters? He pops the
Yes.
lighter in. This is what he does. He lights the joint and then
Yeah.
throws the lighter out the window.
What a douche. He throws the lighter out.
He moves it back and forth
Like it was a
he's putting out
match.
and
Yeah.
throws it out the window. So now we got to go back on this road looking for my
And find
dad's
it.
lighter. We did find it. and we put it back in.
Right next to John Wayne Bobbitt's fucking
and my
cuddle
dad,
stick.
my dad gets in the car. Right, the next thing he goes, "Oh, there's a little scratch on that lighter. I guess I'll have to replace that." And I was like, "Oh God."
A scratch on my lighter.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, it was back then.
That's
it
attention
was,
to detail.
But he
No, it
didn't
was
notice
really-
the smell.
it was real shiny. You know what I mean? And it was.
Yeah.
It looked like it got thrown out the window.
Oh, okay, I
I've,
got you. But
the
still, that's
70s,
that you know.
My
Well, it's
dad
right in
had
the
a
middle
bought
of it. It wasn't in those cars. The lighter wasn't even in the ashtray. It was in the middle of the dashboard.
Yeah, it
above
was in the middle of the
ashtray.
dashboard. And my dad, I remember he had in the 70s, he bought a brand new Ford LTD. Remember the Ford LTD?
Oh yeah, Frank
was a
Cannon
nice-
used to drive that.
That was a nice car, man. It was a 70, I think it was a 77, 76 or 77.
Those are
Ford
huge
LTD.
cars,
I wish I had that car now.
on that TV show Cannon. He drives, I think it's a 71 LTD. What I can't believe when you look at this now, 50 years later, the door is like 5 feet
Yeah.
long. It's
There-
gigantic.
They're
The
as
hood of
long
the
as
car is
a
like
UPS
18
truck.
feet.
There was long, like I had a 77 Cadillac, freaking, the thing was as long, I used to call it Bodicus. It was as long as a UPS truck.
Yeah.
But here's the question, and I love the way we just start and go to places we never intended. But anyway, what was the car that your dad had when you were a kid that you like? My dad had a Galaxy 500, and if I could I want to get one and restore it, and just be able to have that car that I used
Well,
to drive around in with my
The
dad.
car that my dad had, I couldn't, even if I could find one, they're about $400,000 now. He had a
did you-
1956 two-door Nomad station wagon
Oh shit.
Oh, geez.
with two-tone blue. He paid $5,600 for it in '56.
And he bought it new.
Yeah,
Wow, a Nomad.
he loved that car.
That's like
And
my
I had
old
the
man's
back
car.
windows-
He
the
wanted
back
a
windows.
Nash.
The back window slid. It was the first car that ever had a rear speaker that you could adjust the rear speaker.
No, there was no speaker in that car. There was actually a little person in the back singing.
You had to buy it.
There was no such thing. There was no electricity. Anyway,
See,
I
my
remember-
dad used to repair cars, and he had a whole bunch. And most of them were the cars he used to drive were like a 71. I don't know. It was a Dodge. I don't know. It was anyway. The car he did have for a little bit that I wanted. He had a jet black and white 57 Chevy, but he fixed it and he sold it. Man, I would
Chevy
love
what? Was it a Bel Air or a?
57 Chevy. I guess it was a Bel Air or an Impala, whatever. I think the classic 57 Chevy.
Those were some awesome
I-
cars back then.
I
Yeah,
love
my
that.
father worked for a hospital, and the hospital closed. This is like in '60, and he had to sell it. And man, it was broken.
My dad was a cheap bastard. He had a rule. He wouldn't spend no more than $100 on a car. And this was back, whatever. So he would buy these cars and whatever.
100?
Yeah, well, this was when we were little kids. Yeah, I mean, he spent $100, buy a car, run it until it died, and go out and buy another car for under 100 or under.
That's
I
true,
remember my
man.
father brought his Chevy to the dealership and traded it for two Corvairs.
Two Corvairs,
Yeah, Corvair station wagon and a regular
unsafe
Corvair.
at any speed.
And I had, it's so funny. I was at my mechanics yesterday, and there was a Corvair Monza there. They're really cool looking cars now.
Yeah,
I
but
forget how
Ralph
cool
Nader
they were.
destroyed it. Ralph
I
Nader
know.
destroyed
I was
it.
in the
Was that
car with my.
Corvair? Is that the one that had that sleek back?
Engine in the back, an American car with
Rear
an
engine.
in the back.
Because
Yeah.
we used to take my car, we'd stop at a light, we'd do Chinese fire drills, we'd open up the hood. People go, "What's the matter?" We go, "There's no motor." I thought that was really funny. But I was with my father coming back from Yankee Stadium, and a drunk guy came down the exit ramp and hit us head on, and we were
Wow.
fine.
Yeah, but apparently the car would roll. I think, and Nader wrote a book about it. Like I said, unsafe at any speed, and they pretty much
Yeah, ruined the market.
It did.
This is kind of a funny story. We had a Corvair station wagon, which is really rare. I mean, they're probably worth a lot of money.
Station wagons are rare.
That's like having a Vega. That's like having a Vega ST.
So we went to Carvel, and I don't know, everyone in my family liked strawberry sundaes. And we pulled out, and the guy rear-ended us, and the ice cream went all over us. We had strawberry coming out of our hair and everything. We got out of the car, and the guy almost fainted.
Oh, he thought it was
Don't
blood,
anybody
huh?
move!
Oh.
Don't anybody move! Lay down.
Oh.
We had like big clumps of strawberry coming out of our hair. It looked like we had brain.
Oh
my
man,
God,
that's
It's actually pretty funny. We didn't know, and at the time we were so shaken up, we didn't even realize like why the guy was freaking out. You know, what I mean, we knew it was ice cream, but
See,
it
we-
was like
my dad-
we all had it.
We never had an accident. My dad was a driving instructor at one point, so we know. I mean, he was a safe driver. He never, but he was one of those ones that always claimed he wanted to get an old taxi cab. Remember the big old, what were they called? The checker cab. And he wanted to buy one just so he could slam other people, stupid drivers on the road. His dream was to buy a checkered cab and just hit stupid people.
When I was
my dad was like your dad. He used to rebuild cars. He never bought a new car, but one time he did.
Yeah.
He bought it's almost funny. A brand new 1980 Chevrolet Chevette. Remember those cars?
Yep.
Chevette.
A Chevette.
I had one.
A shit
So
vet.
one day I was raining and my windshield wipers on my car didn't work. I said, Dad, can I take your car to work? He goes, yeah. I'm taking the car to work and I'm coming to a yield and a panel truck had stopped at the yield and I didn't notice. And I slammed on the brakes and slid into him and totaled the car. That's the only time my dad ever bought a new car and I totaled it. I mean, the firewall broke, the engine kind of came into the cab of the car. It was terrible. So,
That's it. Like I said, my dad wouldn't spend money, but he did. He bought that new the LTD. I guess that was whatever. He was getting older and he not older at that time, but I guess he just decided he wanted a new car and
my first car, I was 16 years old, was a 1956 Mercury Super Cruiser.
Oh my God.
It was the biggest car you've ever seen in your life. Had a steering wheel the size of the Queen Mary.
Wow.
With no power steering. It was like this big. And
I used to drive trucks that had steering wheels like that. I used to drive an old Diamond T, with no power steering. I used to drive trucks like that.
Jay Leno used to actually do a joke about the car. He goes, yeah, those old Mercuries had a solid steel dashboard. Whenever there were no seatbelts, when there was an accident, the ambulance would show up and the guy would go, don't even bother. He's driving a Merc.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're spam. You'd be spam. You'd cut it into little pieces and cook.
So, I was always surfing and everything. So I took the car out to the Hamptons. I went to drive it on the beach and it went all the way in. And
what do you mean it went all the way in? The car went into the water?
Into the sand.
Oh.
And I tried to rock it out and I blew reverse. And I drove that car for 1 year without reverse.
Right.
And the thing weighed about 2 tons. But I would know where to park. I got this one spot at work where I'd park, where I could just roll out back. It was just crazy. It was crazy. And then the coolest part about it was I took out the back seat and I put in a double bed mattress and curtains on the back because we used to go to the beach.
Mobile.
We used to go to the beach, and in Long Beach, you only surf till 9:00. So we would go out at night. And then I would just go to the beach. I'd meet my friends at the beach.
Get
no
up at
matter what
6
time I got done, I'd sleep in the back of the car, get up and go surfing. The
Didn't
best
have
part
shack.
about it was anytime I had a date, the father would take one look at my car and go, why don't you take my car? So I got to drive Chargers,
Yeah.
Austin Healey.
That's like when I used to show up I'd show up at a chick's house and I had my customized van with the bed in the back. Same thing. It's like, why don't you take my car, son?
My car had a customized glory hole. It's kind of different.
Yeah, it was called the gas tank, Craig. It was called the gas tank. You're not supposed to shove your dick in there, okay?
No wonder it smelled bad.
Speaking of, we were talking about all these things. It's like, how about this whole thing with the we did it in the beginning with Kid Schmuck and this over a can with a rainbow on it, or it's like
it's not even road beer. It's a photo of Dylan Mulvaney, who's a transgender person, who's a female.
Yeah.
And it was a contest, how much beer you could carry. And she won the contest.
What I want to know is why does anyone give a single solitary fuck who and how Budweiser or whoever advertised? It's like, how does that affect? It doesn't affect you. It's like
because they feel threatened. That's it. Everybody feels threatened.
You hear them saying, why are they shoving this down our throat? It's like, who is shoving? Nobody's shoving anything down your throat unless you're standing there with your mouth open,
And it's just ridiculous. It's just everything is so right wing too now. I mean,
Everything's
just
so
like-
right. You really? You think? I think it's. I think the
oh,
extreme
this
left
is
forcing-
totally right wing.
Oh, it's a right wing reaction, but I think
Yeah.
the left is forcing the reaction from the right. I think it should be more moderate. That's just my view.
Well, everything should be more moderate. There should be like a fucking. But the point is that nobody's forcing anyone to anything. It's like they talk about now. Here's the right talking about, oh, cancel culture. But who's the first one to go to cancel something when it's something they don't like? I love they want smaller government unless it comes to some issue that they want, like abortion or
That's
gun
true.
gun control.
Yeah.
No, that we want more government. But,
Oh, no,
but
they're
for everything
definitely
else, we
not-
want less
They're
government.
definitely, not playing with a full deck, but I'm just saying the reaction comes from the feeling that, everything on the left, the woke culture is attacking their values, their core values. That's
Well,
all
I read, we've talked a few times about book banning and stuff. So I read it in the paper yesterday in the failing New York Times. I read
It says how you sound like Trump now.
that's why I said it.
Terrible.
Everybody
No,
says
nobody reads it. Nobody reads.
the failing New York Times.
I wish I could make my
I read
hands
the
smaller.
fake
Maybe I'd
news.
do it better.
But anyway, it said that there's this town in Texas. It's not a big town, and of course they banned all these books. So this federal judge said they cannot ban these books. They have to go back to the library
right.
because the books that are being banned are just books on Black history, LGBT, all this stuff, and they got to go back into the library. So the town closed the library.
I love it. It's like there's just so much stupidity going on. It's
Well, I saw this parody commercial. I showed it to you guys. You guys decided not to show it, which is a good idea. But at the end, he takes a baseball bat and he points at the camera and goes, "Hey, beer companies, stay away from our kids." And meaning with the LGBTQ. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, but as far as guns going into a school and killing them, that's fine.
well. Besides,
But,
why don't you look at
Putting
the
a trans person
statistics.
on a beer can, that's
Who's-
going too far.
Who's molesting more kids? I think it's very. I would trust a drag queen or a whatever before I would trust a freaking right wing politician. They all seem to be getting busted for child molesting and whatever, and
No, it's just the oxy. It's just come on, it's hypocritical. You're mad at them for putting a trans person on a can of beer and saying stay away from our kids. First of all, you kids aren't supposed to be drinking beer,
Exactly.
and second of all, I mean, we just had another school shooting, and my phone is ringing. Sorry, we just had another school shooting with an AR-15, but that's fine. Hey, let's
I love their
do our
solution.
best.
Their solution is to friggin' let's arm teachers. And I heard someone say, "Oh, we'll put a tank in front of the school if we have." It's like, what kind of fucking what world do you want to live in where you want a school where kids have to see military people standing outside of the school to be safe? It's like, I don't want to live in that fucking world.
Well, we do kind of.
There's a Bob Dylan. There's a Bob. I'll get very heavy here. There's a Bob Dylan song called "The Times They Are Changing."
The times they are
Right.
changing.
The words are: "Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. The world is rapidly changing."
Yes.
Which is so profound because all of these kids that have to go to school drill shootings, and all these kids are going to become of voting age.
Mm-hmm.
And you think after you've been going through all of that stuff, why do you think our generation back in the cowboy days, why do you think like our generation, we were so anti-nuclear war? Because we used to have to hide under their desk with our hands over our head.
But this is so
I'm not
obviously
confident it's
about
gonna make
money.
any kind of a difference.
It's like the NRA is paying off these politicians. These politicians go up there and say, "Oh, they're coming." They put fear into people like they're coming after your guns. They're coming after this. They're coming after your value, and it's all bullshit. It's all greed. It's fucking politicians. I swear to God, they.
Well, I mean, I said it last week. Ron DeSantis, the week of the shooting in that school, passed in Florida a no wait, no background check from 21 to 18 concealed carry permit. You can go into a store, walk out with a gun, stick it down the back of your pants, and go shopping at Publix.
Yeah,
that's
I hope somebody does
on
that.
Sunday
and goes to Ron
night.
DeSantis's house.
On Sunday night, I watched a rerun of All in the Family from 1972. And in the episode, Archie goes on TV to talk
Yeah.
about gun control.
Yeah.
And what he said, he goes, and about all these hijackings, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Arm your passengers.
Hand out guns as they're
Hand out
walking
the
on
gun. And I'm thinking, and that back then that was comedy, satire. Now they're really talking about that shit in schools. Arm your
Mhm.
teachers and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Isn't that a Crosby, Stills and Nash song? Arm your teachers well.
But I mean, what was parody in 1972 is coming to fruition in 2023. There's been no friggin' progress on that front at all.
No, because there's too much money. It's all about money. We live in a friggin' society where it's like, screw, I don't care about people. I don't care what happens to how many people die, get killed, this and that, as long as I'm
Even
getting
kids,
paid
they don't
off.
care about the kids
They
either.
don't, no, they claim
No.
they do, but they don't give one bit of
They
a
can
shit.
they ban books, but they won't ban
Guns.
guns.
And
So
they'll ban
that's the
abortion.
last I heard, I never heard of a book killing a bunch of kids in school.
Did you hear Lindsey Graham recently? Like they
he's such
got
a
him on
piece of
video
garbage.
talking about the prince of Saudi Arabia, and it's like 20 clips of him going, "What a piece of crap! What a guy! He's a murderer! He's this, he's that! I will never do business." And now he just showed an update with him sitting in Saudi Arabia with the prince because the guy just ordered like $50 million worth
Money talks, doesn't it?
of planes built in his state. It's like, oh, so I don't care that you're a killer, you're a murderer, this and as long as I can make money off of you.
I just think all of our politicians, I'm not talking about any kind of division. I'm talking at left, right, middle. They're all corrupt
of
because
course
of the
they are.
money.
Look
that's
at
being shoved.
Bobert, right? Drops
Do I
out of
have to?
high school,
Mm-hmm.
right? Her husband gets arrested for taking his dick out of a bowling alley to show somebody a tattoo.
Yeah,
That was
Gets
him.
arrested.
How else are
Yeah.
you going to do it? You're going to take a picture? You got to
And,
take it out. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
And so they start a restaurant that goes bankrupt. She has no money. She goes into politics.
And she's a
And 2
millionaire
years
now.
later, she got $41 million.
Yeah.
I have to ask. So was the tattoo on his penis? Is that what it
No,
was?
it was a tattoo of a penis on his penis. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I guess it was actual size then, right? I guess I don't know.
I don't really
Fucking inbred
care.
hillbilly
It's-
inbred
it's-
hillbilly douchebags.
We ban
Budweiser-
abortions. We ban abortions, but late term abortions, like from an AK-15, AK-47 when they're 12, that's fine.
Yeah.
We've
just-
really taken a trip into the
Into the
depressing world of
Well, it's like back to this Budweiser thing, right? So Kid Rock
Bud.
is like machine gunning things
Yeah.
of beer, right? And he misses.
Did you see?
everything.
Yeah, the safest place to be with Kid Rock shooting a gun is right in front of him.
Right.
I mean, because he can't aim for
But
shit.
meanwhile, so this reporter, and there's another guy in Nashville, another country western guy that,
Travis Tritt.
yeah.
Travis
oh my
Zitt,
God.
what a douche.
So this reporter goes into Kid Rock's bar, right? This is yesterday, and says, "I'd like a Bud Light." They go, "Yeah, no problem." And then he goes across the street to the other bar and says, "I'd like a Bud Light." And they go, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah.
And they're still serving it. So he
course.
turns to the camera and he says, "This is all bullshit." And he says, "I'm only bringing this up because I live in Nashville. Nashville is my town, and I just can't stand this negative light that these
Mhm.
people who aren't even from Nashville are putting on our city."
Well, did you see that video of that somebody spent like at least $5,000 or more worth of beer and they laid it out in a parking lot and they're running it over with a steamroller? Have you seen that? I think I'd send it to you. I don't know. But it's so ridiculous. It's like, first of all that money you wasted, you don't even think about the homeless stuff. I mean, how many homeless guys could have got a buzz off that beer? Just wasted it. Come
That's
on.
Remember that-
nutrition
remember that-
in beer, right? Hops are good for you.
Hops, there you go. Hop Sing is good for you.
Remember those?
Now on Bonanza. Nice.
Remember those commercials they used to have? Real Men of Genius.
Real men of
Yeah. Here's to you, Mr. Cruise Ship Worker. My favorite line on that was he goes, "You bring your audience to their feet, which is no easy task because most of them are in walkers." And the guy in the background goes, "Osteoporosis."
Yeah. We should do one, John. You gotta make your own.
Go on, improvise. Do something.
Real man of genius.
Putting him on the spot. We shouldn't do that.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. Man of Genius.
Genius.
Here's to you, I won't drink a Bud Light anymore, Mr. Homophobe.
Never wore a pink shirt.
When Bud Light personalized a can to the transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, you said no. In fact, I will start a protest against everyone who already paid for their beer to dump it out. Real man of genius.
I saw him at the Ramrod.
Bud said, fine, we don't even care. We already have your money. We sell 326 million cans of beer a year. It doesn't really matter.
Not really comfortable in a men's locker room.
So here's to you, Mr. LGBT transgender hater. When the KKK said no, you said yes.
Like killing people.
So,
You know,
put on
a bush. Men also have a bush. Thank you.
So put on a dress, open a beer, and suck one up today. You don't wait. It should be something like, so suck up a bud today. It won't make you gay. And it goes, you know you always wanted to. And then you have to end with, this message is not approved by Trump, Kid Rock, or Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We got to film that. But we have to hire singers.
Yeah, really.
Real
man of genius.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, man, just type in Real Men of Genius. They have them for every single thing.
But what was it for? That's the thing. That's why
actual Bud commercials.
Those
it
were
was
actually
Bud, right? Oh,
yeah.
It was
promoting
Bud commercials.
It was promoting Budweiser.
Yeah, it's real funny, man.
Budweiser over the years.
I used to play the one, like I used to do like a 15-minute video thing before my show on the cruise ship, and I used to play that one, the Bud Light one, to Mr. Cruise Ship Entertainer. And one of the cruise directors says, you can't play that, man. You can't, because of, he goes, there are people in the room with osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis.
But the way he says it, it's just so funny. King of the crouton. You may not get the big money that you get in Vegas, but you are king of the salad bar. He gets all the croutons. That's great.
Man.
That's great. So I read a story. I read a story too. One of these stories. This woman, 75 years old, walks into a bank, hands a teller a piece of paper that says, "I don't want to bother you. I don't want to bother you or
not
scare
to be
you,
a bother,
but I'd like
the money.
I'd like $1,800 in this bag and hurry it up." So the teller says she smells like a lot of alcohol on her breath.
Right.
or Listerine. We're not sure.
So she gives her the money and she calls the police, and they catch the woman down. And when they catch the woman down the block, all the money, she must have just dumped it out in her car. And it was like all over the car. Like she was just sitting in the car. And when they brought her down, they found out that this is her third bank robbery in her life at 74. And she just got off of parole in March.
You see, you would think that she'd be getting better at it, like the third one, but she hasn't improved. You see, John, that reeks of me to somebody who wants to get busted and go to jail.
Wants to go back
somebody
to jail.
Who wants 3 hots in a cot. I mean, I knew guys that used to take a brick and throw it through the window of a windshield of a cop car because they wanted, 3 hots in a cot, man.
The good news is it was a Mercury Super Cruiser, so there was tons of money in there. There was lots of room.
No, it was only $1,800. I mean, there you go. There's the end. Come on, you're only asking for $1,800. You're risking going to jail, and you're going to ask for $1,800.
I know, it's crazy.
What are you? Okay, 1,900. Thank you. I don't want to be a bother.
I don't want to be a bother, but I'm going to have to shoot you in the foot if you don't give me $1,800 right now.
You don't give me $1,800, I'm going to shoot you right in the tip.
Can you please hurry up? My Aquanet, my hair is starting to fall a little bit. I ran out of the Aquanet and I got to go buy some.
My lipstick all over my mouth. I can't tell. I don't have a mirror.
Oh my
Have
God,
you guys
you
ever
remember all
seen
of
that?
that stuff your mothers used to use?
Oh,
to
yeah.
freaking, oh my God.
Do you remember that
That one
movie?
is great.
Did you ever see that movie, The Doberman Gang?
No.
I've heard of it.
So these guys train these Dobermans to rob the bank.
Oh, that was a TV movie with Fred Astaire.
Fred
No, I think,
Astaire.
doing that?
no, I think
Little Bing
Disney may have
Bing, you're
redone
right.
it. No,
Oh,
what
okay.
happens is these guys, they have these 4 trained Dobermans, and one first goes in and just keeps the guard in bay. And man, you're not gonna. That thing is mean looking.
Mhm.
The other one jumps up on the counter with like a thing in a mouth that drops that says what they want. The other 2 dogs just stake out the bank, and they all have pouches. They put the money in the pouches. Dogs run out. So it's really cool. It's a really
The
cool
Doberman
robbery.
Gang.
See, there's
Yeah.
so many movies that wouldn't work anymore today. Now everywhere there's cameras everywhere. No matter what you do, there's a camera. And if
doesn't
there isn't a
matter, yeah.
camera, there's somebody with a cell phone filming. You know, it's like you
Well,
can't.
I mean, it's not like all Dobermans don't look the same.
Oh,
Well,
I love
they-
Dobermans, man.
So
I used to have a min pin.
A what?
Min pin, mini pincher. You ever see that? It's like
Oh, min
it's
pin.
like a
Never
fraction
heard
of
of
the
that.
size of you never heard of a miniature pincher?
No, it's
It looks
interesting, though.
exactly like a Doberman pincher, but it's one of those little miniature dogs.
Those dogs scare me. You know, it's funny.
The
My
miniature dogs scare you?
No, Dobermans.
Oh,
My
okay.
ex-wife, her mother was a
Scares you?
painter. Was a painter, pretty famous painter, and she was in England, and she was in this field. Did I ever tell you this? She was in this field, and she was painting this painting, and she had been there for like 2 or 3 weeks painting this landscape. And the last day she was there, these 2 guys in like pretty expensive suits walked up to her and went, how long do you think you're going to be here? And she said, well, today I think is the last day. They go, oh, it's a really lovely painting. And she said, oh, thanks. And they said, you sure you're going to be done today? And they go, yeah, without a doubt. It was the great train robbery in that field where she was painting.
Wow.
How
And
cool
so
is that?
did she give a description of the
There you go.
Yeah, I think they did, but I don't think they were just like
what happened? What happened? What happened? The screen went black.
The Doberman Gang. Can't you see it?
No. Mine's just
Okay,
a
well, I
black
think the audience
screen.
can. Oh, there
Now
it
I
is.
see it. Now I see it.
Is it a
Yeah,
Disney
it
movie?
took a second. Sorry.
All right.
That's to
Is
show
it-
that
Okay.
the movie does exist.
Is
That's
it
enough.
is it a Disney movie?
Yeah,
No, I'm serious.
a Disney movie with vicious Dobermans on there.
Yeah, but it was so well done in the way they did it.
You're thinking of,
looks like it was just
100
one of those cheap early 1970s
101
TV.
Dobermans. It's the anti-Disney against the Dalmatians.
I told you when I
When
saw
you're
it.
a jet all the way from your first
Lady and the Tramp meets the Doberman Gang.
What was shit? I can't. My mind just went blank. Who's that
Real
comic?
men of
Who is that
Alzheimer's.
who is
No,
that
I'm
comic
sorry.
that I said I really love? From
John needs to
Boston?
take his ink.
from Boston.
From Boston.
Dennis Leary?
No, the guy that won, like really deadpan.
But Stephen Wright.
Yeah, Stephen Wright. When I saw him, that was one of the lines he says. He goes, "When I walk down the street and I see a Dalmatian, I say, what number are you?"
Also known as fire dogs.
Fire
Yeah, and they're
down.
vicious.
Yeah, but you know,
Dalmatians
it's
are vicious,
only
I've
if they're
never-
trained to be, man. They're no even everyone's afraid.
but that's why they had them in firehouses.
if they're trained vicious, if they're mistreated and whatever,
Yeah, it's
Even
total bullshit.
pit bulls are beautiful dogs.
I've
listen.
had 5 pit bulls. Oh shit. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, you're right.
If you
Okay,
bring them up
so-
right and you treat them right, and what I like
right.
is, listen, nobody's going to go near your house. I love, give me a bull mastiff or a
They
Rottweiler.
drool, the Mastiffs. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, but the reason I don't want one now is because I don't want to pick up after it. Like I got my dog, he
I
shits
know.
pellets.
The mop,
I don't want to have to
mop
fucking, I don't want to have to use a shovel to pick
When
up
I
after
see
my
when I
dog.
see a Great Dane walk by, I'm like, oh, who wants to clean up after that?
Exactly.
When,
My dog gave fucking little pellets like a rabbit.
I have to
you
tell
know.
you a
That begs
funny
the question:
story.
Is there an average Dane out there? I know
No,
they have
they're all great.
Yeah,
They're all
Dane
great.
Cook.
Yoga
Dane
Dane.
Cook. Dane Cook. That's the average Dane.
Right.
No, that's a shitty name.
That's a shitty Dane.
Just made me think of this when you were talking about fires. I was on a cruise ship once that caught on fire. And
That's nice.
now listen, this is
It
really
seemed to be a nice story.
this is very funny. This is very funny.
Okay.
So this kid has a fight with his dad and throws every towel he can find from the deck onto his dad's porch, and then throws a bottle of flaming rum onto the
That's nice.
porch.
That's love.
And
That's
600 cabins go up in about 30 minutes.
Real man of genius.
So anyway, they made everyone go to the lifeboat stations, but we didn't have to abandon ship. So we were out of Jamaica, and the whole side of the ship, you can look it up. You look up Princess Fire. The whole side of the ship is gone. So the poor captain maneuvers the ship for about a half hour so he can pull into the port without anybody seeing the burnt up side of the ship. By the time we got in,
Look to the left, Joey. Wait,
by the time we got in, these Rastas in a Zodiac boat already had the pictures on CNN.
Oh, God.
So we pull up. Unfortunately, a guy had a heart attack and died.
Oh, that's not good.
But we pull up, and this is to me the funniest thing I've ever seen. We pull up. Now, this ship, the fire started on the 15th floor.
On the Lido deck.
So we pull up, and there's these Rasta firemen in like an open truck.
Hey, mister, you got a boat on fire.
With dreadlocks and fire hats, with a wooden ladder about 12 feet long. And they're sitting on the dock waiting. Like,
ain't such a stereotype.
It was,
hey, man, your boat's on fire, man.
I know.
Put it out.
It was-
I'm going to
it was-
smoke his spliff and then put out your
it was
boat.
the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, what? They couldn't even reach the gangway with the ladder. And they're sitting there like all waiting, like, well, we're here, man. We're here, man, to help you.
Did they have a stone? Did they have a stone Dalmatian next to them?
No, but I have this vision.
But it had
of these
dreadlocks.
I have these visions of these four Rastas sitting there very proud in their big fin suits and their fire hats with their long dreadlocks. Like, it was just the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Worry.
It's like,
be happy.
happy.
I want to know what happened to the fucking asshole who set his father's cabin. I mean, how do you
covered
They
up.
had to be from Florida.
who pays for that? I mean, you got to go to
Covered
jail
up.
for.
Let me tell you something. Covered up, the whole thing, covered up by the cruise lines, because if one person died,
Yeah. And John's gone. All right. So
Yeah, they just covered him up.
he just keeps talking about the cruise lines, man. You don't want to.
Yeah, that's
Big
what
money.
happened.
Big money got him.
Yeah, they'll do it.
All right. So where we?
So we
I was
learned
going
what
to tell.
not to talk about.
Is
He was
John?
Back John.
He's
Right.
back. He's back.
really, I'm plugged in too.
Yeah.
I met this guy in the airport, and he told me that he was in a cabin like down underneath it where it all started, and him and his wife were in bed, and he goes, I kind of woke up because I saw like a glow on the patio, and that's when they used to use all that plastic furniture.
Oh man.
And he said, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I see this big blob of plastic come down, hit the deck,
Oh, shit.
and just
How do you
spray all
cover
over.
it up though? With how many people must have known about it? How can you cover something like that
It was
up? You
all
got
over
to pay off
CNN
everyone.
too.
They do.
Mm.
So anyway, this guy said, he said to his wife, come on, man, we got to get out of here. She's like, what? He goes, we got to get out of here. There's a fire. We got to get out of here. So he said they get up and they get dressed, and he keeps watching these blobs of plastic drop down and just like go up. And he says, finally, they just got dressed. They're walking out the door. He said, this blob of plastic, like this big, like 2 feet across, came down, hit, blew out the window, and the fire just went right across the room as they closed the door.
It was probably fiberglass or something like that. I don't know if they make it out of plastic.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was a PVC furniture.
Wow. Jeez.
So they don't do that anymore, but that's what it was.
We were having sex.
long ago
I
was this,
started to
John?
smell smoke, and I thought I was just doing really well.
How long ago was this?
So this is about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, so when COVID came along and that one cruise ship, like, oh, thank God, people are not gonna remember the fire now. Cool. All right.
COVID. Then when the cruise industry's motto became COVID, the cruising, it's not just for Legionnaire's disease
Yeah, man,
anymore.
we're gonna sit by Long Beach for 6 months. Thank you.
We
In
should
all-
we should be good to the cruise industry because we are advertising in front of the
In all
cruise and news show.
I
In
wonder if
all-
Tom Drake knows about it. Well, he must know about it.
He
in
probably
all
set the fire.
fairness, in all fairness, the cruise ships did pretty well. I mean, as far as COVID, they really took it pretty serious. It was just that
Well, they
one when
did.
nobody knew, what was going on.
Well, that's what I mean. That overwhelmed the news cycle. That's
I always
and
felt bad for
Right.
that industry because I mean they basically got shut down for a long time.
a
And
lot of
those
industries got shut
how do
down.
you got no crew, no nothing. I mean, it's like, and then to start back up, you have to rehire. It's an overwhelming. Geez,
Oh,
it's a testament to that industry that they survived.
I don't see if you can see this. The picture of the fire.
Oh, you're gonna have it?
We got a picture of the fire. The people on the podcast are gonna love. They cannot see it.
Are you sending it to my email?
Not only did it disappear, you disappeared.
So weird.
You know what?
Should
Craig
I
will
send it
put
to
it
you?
up in post.
Yeah, just send it to yeah. I can do it in post, but if you want to send it to me now, I could do it. We have a
Yeah.
few minutes left.
I'm gonna send it to you right
We
now.
have a few minutes left. And in that time, I'd like to talk about
Have you tried Amway?
I
I
will
actually had
tell
a guy. I had a comedian one time go, Craig, I want to talk about an opportunity with you. I'm like, really? Yeah. Can I come over to your house? I'm like, yeah. And I thought he was going to be like, I'm going to manage you or this management company or a new club. And he comes in and he goes, do you know what the number 3 thing on the stock exchange is? I'm like, Amway. And he's just doing a pitch for Amway. And after about 5 minutes, I just went, you know what? This isn't working. And I stopped it. It's a comic that we I don't know if you guys know him, but he was pretty funny. But man, that was bad.
the Amway guy. I don't know.
Well, I knew a comic who were cruise ships, and he was the number 2 guy in Amway, and now he owns an island.
Now he owns an island.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I just emailed that.
Yeah, but what can you do with an island? Big deal. I'm an
Right.
island
It's
guy.
Governor's
Multi-
Island. Who cares?
He's a multimillionaire. He's the guy that was
You want ice cream in the middle of the night? You can't just go to the store and get it if you're on a freaking island. And Instacart, don't go to your island.
His name was Andy Andrews, and he's a good comic. And I was on the ship with him once, and this is years and years ago. And there was an accident on the pier with this little kid.
Did the guys
Sounds
did the guys with the oars hit the pier?
Now it was a rope snapped and basically cut this.
Oh,
kid
yes,
in
I've
half.
told this before. This is a terrible story.
And
Oh.
that night, the cruise director came out and said, I just want to make an announcement. The little chap today on the pier, 6 years old, did pass away at 3:55 Miami time. I know that was important.
Yeah.
And but yes,
Sounds
he is.
official.
He is now deceased, and now here to make you laugh,
Is-
Andy Andrews.
Indian. Oh my God.
Oh,
I mean, mine wasn't quite that bad. I was in New Jersey in a club somewhere, and it was one of those clubs where they had TV screens all over the place, and they were playing the news. And it was like, it was just the first, this was years ago, the first Scud missile had just hit Israel. Remember that? This
Right.
was like
1991.
So here's a Scud missile hits Israel. The news is like, oh, blah, blah. And all of a sudden the screen goes up and it's like, okay, it's comedy time. And oh my God, just let
I
me-
think that's happened to all of us because I think people who aren't used to putting together shows think we're going to have this really dramatic this thing, and then and people are going to be down. We want to bring them right back up, and let's make because my brother had this thing. He's a jujitsu guy, and it was this big banquet, and I was going to be doing 10 minutes or something like that, or 20 minutes, I forget. And right before I came on, they had a guy he was a former champion who got paralyzed, and he comes out in the chair, like, "Ee!" And he's like, and he's struggling to talk, and everybody's crying. And as soon as he wheels up, and now it's time for comedy.
Now it's
It
time
happens
for the
to all of
comedy.
us,
There
man.
you go.
I had the worst one. I was on a cruise ship that left New York on September 9th.
That's not
so
good.
We sailed past the World Trade Centers and we stopped so people could take pictures.
Oh,
And then 2 days later, it all happens. It all goes down. I get a call from the Austrian hotel manager and says, I want you to do a show tonight.
Wow.
And I go, there's no way that I'm doing a show tonight. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, you know, in a time of tragedy, people need comedy. I go, this whole ship is filled with New Yorkers. I go, there's no way I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
And he was like, I said, if you want to do something smart, just have like a religious service or something.
Yeah, there you go. That's a smart idea.
Do you do it?
So he goes like this. He goes, I can't believe that, you know, you're going against my word. And I go, believe me, I know more about this than you do. And he did a religious service, and against his better judgment, according to him, and every comment at the end of the week said, it was so nice that you didn't have a show that night, and out of respect, you had a religious service. And, you know, we know as comedians, we know what it's going to suck.
Yeah, listen, who's more inappropriate than a comedian? We
Right.
say the most inappropriate things. We say most of the time I'll say stuff it's just to shock people. It doesn't mean it's my core beliefs. It's like my job is to make people laugh. And anyone who gets offended at that stuff came in looking with an agenda to be offended, because most comics aren't trying to offend somebody. They're trying to make people laugh. They're trying to fucking ease your burden, whatever. So it's like, you know, fucking relax, man.
Gentlemen, on that happy note, I have to let you know it's time to wrap this up.
And now I just got to leave you with this. This is, remember we had Fred on a couple of weeks ago? We were on a cruise. Fred Klett. We were on a ship. He's the funniest comedian ever. We were on a ship, and a guy fell overboard the night before, and they
that's some funny stuff going on.
They saved
That's
him.
hilarious.
Listen, they saved him. He was drunk. He jumped up to have a cigarette and went over backwards.
Right.
He talked to the guy, Fred and I. He said he hit that water, saw the ship sailing away, and just kept thinking, oh my God, I hope someone knows that I fell overboard, which his wife did, I guess.
I would have been
But
like,
anyway,
thinking,
he was
my
drunk,
cigarette went
and
out.
he was drunk, which they say is probably what saved him.
That's a duh.
Because he didn't panic. And we were coming into San Juan early, and we shut off the motor on that side of the boat, the engine. Otherwise, he would have been chop meat, because he would have got sucked under.
Wow.
Anyway, the next day we get to the private island. Everybody's just kind of, and they're loading up the tenders, and there's two 12-foot sharks circling the tender the entire day, just circling the tender. So comes the farewell show that night, and the cruise director says, I'd really appreciate it if nobody says anything about the sharks or the guy that fell overboard. Fred Klett walks out on stage and goes, hey, you guys see those two sharks circling the tender today? I heard one say to the other one, you think that asshole's going to fall overboard again? And the place just erupts into laughter. And the cruise director looks at me and goes, if he wasn't so goddamn funny, I'd be pissed.
Okay.
On that note,
All right.
A great note to end on.
It is. It's funny.
It is. I'm not being facetious.
All right. So thank you for spending some time with us.
we're so
Bad
glad we had this
Broadcast.
time together.
And, our new revamped studios behind me. And you can see us on Strong Island TV. You can catch us on the podcast playground. We're on Apple TV. We're on Spotify. We're on any place that you get your podcasts.
You can listen to us starting at 9 a.m. on Fridays. You can watch us at 10 p.m. on Fridays on Strong Island Entertainment.
Well, check us out, man.
Check us out, dude.
Over and out. We got to go get a bud.
See, I can't. I wish I could.
Ha ha ha!